Sit. Sit. All right, so we have a 9-week-old puppy here, Hazel, chocolate lab. I'm puppy sitting, and I figured while I'm puppy sitting, I'd do a little training and also share with everyone how I like to train a puppy. The first few days, we charge the clicker, so that just means click, treat, click, treat, click, treat. There's no criteria. All we're doing is charging the clicker. So basically, you're getting that classical conditioned response. Eventually, they hear the click and they get that involuntary response of salivating because they know the treat's coming. So we've got sit pretty good. We did that for a few days. Today, I'm gonna start teaching the down. When we're training puppies, there's a few different things we can do. We can shape a behavior with the clicker, and basically you click when the dog is doing something close to what you want or in the right direction, and then you slowly raise the criteria and just free shaping, just using the clicker. You can also capture a dog doing something like sit. Dogs naturally sit, so as soon as their butt hits the floor, you click, and then you reward that behavior. Timing is very important when you're shaping because you're working toward a goal. And I mean, it's important all the time. Anyways, so you got shaping, you've got luring, so I can lure a dog into a sit. Good girl. With food, a lot of times if you put it just above their nose and then you back up a little bit, they sit. So there's luring, there's shaping, there's coercion, but I like to lure and shape. So we're gonna work on seeing if we can shape the down. Before I do that, I want to show you a couple other things. She sat. I'm going to give her the food over here. That gets her up out of the sit so that we can get another rep in. Sit. So you don't want to feed them the food. If you feed them the food while they're in the sit, they're just going to stay there and you're not able to get another rep. Good girl. So she knows the only way she's going to get food is if she sits. Again, she knows sit pretty good. We want to move on to the down today, and we'll add in some different behaviors over time. So usually with the down, I'll lure, and I'll make them go under my leg. As soon as they're down, they get the food. And then you can lure them back through. We'll see how she does. Once her belly's on the floor, we click and we treat. Just getting her attention. So ideally, when we train a new puppy, we're in an environment free of distractions. Small enclosed area like this hallway works really good. Just gonna lure her back over here. Sometimes you can kind of push the food under them and they'll slide down. That doesn't seem to be working, so. We'll go under the leg. There, she's down. Good job. The other thing is I don't usually add the verbal cue until I get a reliable behavior. So when I'm teaching the sit, I teach the behavior first, and then I add the verbal cue once I have a reliable behavior. Once she's down, I click and reward. Again, I'm not using the verbal cue down today. This is her first time, so it's probably not going to be pretty, but it might seem like a slow process, but it truly is really quick. It's just going to take a few days. It's just going to take a few days. She's fixated on the bowl because that's where the food is. Hazel, Hazel, Hazel. There. She didn't go all the way through, but as soon as she was down, I clicked and rewarded that. Now she's doing it without having to go under my leg, so a little bit of improvement there. Still alluring, just in a different fashion. And I'm just gonna go ahead and leave her in this position a couple times. See if this helps reinforce the behavior I'm looking for, the down. And next time, I'm gonna feed her over there, so she has to reset, so we can get another rep in. She's getting it figured out, I think. Over there. Over there. Give her a chance to reset again. So just kind of reinforcing that a few times and then throwing the food away so she can reset, get another rep in. There we go. So I waited her out. Looked like she wanted to down. She moved back over here, and then she did the full down. Takes a little patience sometimes, but it pays off. You'll get a dog with some nice clean obedience down the road if you can take the time when they're a puppy and get this foundation in. Good girl. This food is just her normal lunchtime portion, and instead of throwing a bowl on the ground and letting her eat it in 3 seconds, we're getting, a 10-15 minute training session out of this, and it's good for the dog's brain, tires him out. Just gonna go ahead and reward that. She's still laying down. Good girl. I try to remain fairly neutral when I'm marker training a dog, clicker training. Everybody wants to get excited and stuff when their dog is succeeding, and it's okay to do that, but there's really no need to. The click is telling them they've got a reward coming. She's paired that click with the food. She knows what it means. So the more you do this, the more operant you'll have a dog. If anyone has questions, feel free to message me. I struggle training and talking at the same time. This is my first time ever doing this. I hate myself on camera, but I feel like there's a lot of people that wanted to see each step of training and how I do it. I'll post the other videos that I did. There's no speaking in the other ones. It's the one charging the clicker and then doing the sit, and then it's the session where I added the verbal cue to the sit. So I'll post those videos. She's gonna go ahead and reward that. She's looking at me, she's laying down still. And if you make a mistake when you're clicker training, it's not a big deal. So I'll pause the reinforcement. You're not going to hurt the dog. You just, try to work on your timing and do a little better. next time. My dog is in the other room, so she hears her scratching. She's in her crate. I'm gonna try to keep her in this area. Try to get her back on task. So the default to the sit, because that's what she learned first. And I'm gonna lure her into the down. Give her her treat. Throw it over there to reset. And I'm giving like 3, 4, 5 pieces of kibble at a time. You could do one at a time, but it would be a very long training session, and puppies don't have a very long attention span. So try to get what you can. I'm just gonna wait her out. And she might be near the end as far as her attention span, but this is the only training session that I'm doing with her today, so I don't mind pushing it a little bit and seeing what we can get. It's not gonna hurt her. Good girl. When you're clicker training or marker-based training, the critical part is marking right when they do the behavior, because that mark, you're basically taking a snapshot in time when they're doing the desired behavior. So if you want to continue getting that same behavior, you got to make sure your timing is right. Start it down. I didn't throw it far enough for her to reset. Give her, oh, look at that. She's going to stay in that down. We'll have to throw the food a little further. Throw it down there. Yeah, the mark, having the mark on perfect timing is really pretty critical. The food delivery, you know, you want it to come out fairly soon after the click, especially when you're charging the clicker. It's click food, click food, click food. But once the dog understands, the click is the bridge, they know the food is coming, so food delivery doesn't have to be super fast. When you start doing more with the dogs, you know, I'll wear a pouch, go outside and do some training. A lot of times dogs are very visual and they see what you're doing, and when your hand starts reaching into that pouch for the food, now the dog is fixated on that, and that can be a cue for the dog. So if you can just kind of keep your hands at your side, neutral, just make sure you're marking at the right time, the reward delivery, whether it's food or toy, can come, you know, moments after. It's not gonna make or break it. You gotta throw the food further and further. She likes staying in that down position. I always try to teach, like I said, the new behavior in a sterile environment, meaning free of distractions, and in a small area works best. But once the dog is reliable and they understand the verbal cue and they're doing it on a regular basis, you want to slowly take the dog out of that sterile environment and do the same training in the living room, and then out in your garage, and then outside in your driveway, and then off site, off premises from your house, and add more and more distractions. And then when you have a full grown dog and you've got this, excellent foundation, you'll have a dog that you can bring everywhere with you because they're obedient and they listen to you, and just makes life a lot easier as a pet owner. She's getting this figured out pretty good. All right, there's just a little bit left. I'm gonna let her have the rest. Kind of a little jackpot. Finish it up on a positive note. But this is the very first time I've done down with her, so if it looks like she was catching on pretty quick, she was. All we've done with her is sit. The owners, I talk to them at the end of the day when I bring the dog back or they come pick her up. I explain to them what I've done with her, and I've talked pretty extensively how they can continue the training at home, and I think they've been doing that, and it pays off. If you can spend 3 10-minute sessions a day with a puppy, you're gonna do really well, and it pays off big time at the end. Good girl, Hazel. Good girl. All right, well, thanks for watching.